Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, September 1, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let's just take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that the northern portion of North Atlantic is still being dominated by numerous tropical cyclones. We still have post-tropical cyclone Idalia right there to the east of the United States. To the east of Idalia, we have tropical depression Gert, which has re-strengthened back to a tropical storm at this time. And to the east of Gert, we have tropical depression 12 that was newly designated earlier today, right there to the northwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. We can also see that we have a tropical wave affecting portion of the Windward and Leeward Islands. It was actually this tropical wave that we mentioned in yesterday's video that was located to the east of the islands yesterday. Now it's across the islands, bringing some amount of clouds, showers and thunderstorms to the area. If we take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, so we just refreshed the page, and it was actually 50% earlier today. Now it's actually, increasing. If we remember yesterday's video, this here that was highlighted had more of a tilt to it, moving more towards the northwest, maybe passing the Leeward Islands, maybe not even making it into the Caribbean, but it has somehow widened and turned a bit to maybe favor into the direction of the Caribbean. So we need to keep a close eye on this system because there is still a chance that it might move to the Caribbean's direction. According to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, it states a tropical wave is expected to move off the west coast of Africa within the next day or so. Environmental conditions appear conducive for some gradual development of the system during the early and the middle part of next week, and a tropical depression could form while it moves westward to west-northwestward at 15 to 20 miles per hour over the eastern and central portions of the tropical Atlantic. So we need to keep a close eye on this system. The chances of it actually, developing are increasing, and it's actually the peak of the hurricane season that we're stepping into. So definitely we need to keep a close eye on this. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see that area that just exited the coast of Africa that we're going to be keeping our eye on. To the northwest of that system we have tropical depression number 12. To the west of that system we still have Gert, and to the west of Gert we still have Idalia. We can also see that tropical wave that we mentioned that brought some amount of clouds, showers and thunderstorms in sections of the Leeward and Windward Islands, more so the Windward Islands today. Definitely going to be moving off to the west, affecting the waters of the Eastern Caribbean on Saturday. Alright, so let's just take a look at what the Euro and the GFS are showing for that system that we mentioned on the U.S. National Hurricane Center's page. We can see that both of them have this system maybe strengthened to a hurricane or so right there to the northeast of the Leeward Islands sometime around Sunday into Monday, and we see somewhat of a consensus. Thus far we know that when it comes to these models, whatever is being shown is not set in stone and they could definitely change, so we need to monitor, and I will definitely be keeping you guys updated as we go along. Alright, so let's just take a look at what was predicted in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for Friday. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. We know central parishes refer to the parishes in the county of Middlesex, St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, while western parishes refer to those parishes in the county of Cornwall, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth. And if we actually remember yesterday's video, we mentioned that we would have had some east-northeasterly wind shear, which should have pushed off whatever thunder clouds that developed off towards the west-southwest, bringing more of those overcast skies and showers to sections of some southern parishes as opposed to northern parishes. And what ended up happening? A post was made on our Twitter page, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and our TikTok pages, highlighting the infrared satellite images. And we definitely had that afternoon convection across those areas. So central and western Jamaica with the bias towards the south coast right there. So we definitely had that thunderstorm across sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, and even sections of northern St. Catherine. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images, we can see that better across sections of St. Catherine and Clarendon, even although it's a bit more robust across sections of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth. But we do see that we indeed had some amount of clouds that brought some isolated showers to sections of Clarendon and northern St. Catherine today. And then we had that huge burst of convection, and we see that even better on the infrared satellite images. Let's reload these images to get the latest ones. So we can still see that we have that thunderstorm right there off to the southwest of the island. Definitely had some deep convection right there across sections of St. Elizabeth, Black River, Santa Cruz, and even sections of Westmoreland as well. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images, let's see if we can reload these images to get the latest. We can see most of that rainfall off towards the south and west of the island, right there off the coast of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth, to prove that yes, we indeed had some amount of rainfall. We know that the rainfall is represented by the greens and the yellows. Green, moderate rainfall; yellows, heavy rainfall. And we know that Doppler radar images show the actual rainfall as opposed to satellite images, and we can definitely have cloud cover over an area and not necessarily rainfall, which is why the Doppler radars are so important. Hopefully the Jamaican one gets fixed very soon. If we take a look at the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this is showing all the rainfall that we had across Jamaica for the past 24 hours. So definitely sections of some central and western parishes with that bias across sections of some southern parishes. So as stated, sections of northern St. Catherine, sections of Clarendon, sections of Manchester, St. Elizabeth especially, and even sections of Westmoreland. So this map is actually confirming what we just saw in the Doppler radar images and the satellite images. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as usual as the night progresses, these temperatures should be getting lower. However, as it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS malls are still showing Jamaica embedded in some yellows, some oranges, some gold shades. They represent 1 to even 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls right there. So definitely still in store for some more high temperatures. I guess tomorrow is gonna be the last day of those very warm temperatures when this air mass finally moves off towards the west. Then it will make way for more of those clear colors right there that we see off to the Caribbean that represent average temperatures, and maybe even some slight blues in there that represent below average temperature coming in from the east northeast. Either way, definitely more rainfall in store for sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. And when those clouds being pushed off towards the west southwest or the southwest, definitely more rainfall across those very spots that had it today. So sections of some southern and especially western parishes. So definitely Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, even sections of Kingston and St. Andrew might get in on some of that rainfall for tomorrow. If we take a look at the rainfall forecast map right here, we can see that we definitely have some rainfall to receive for tomorrow. Look at this. The Euro model is showing 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And we do see some blues across sections of some especially central and western parishes in Jamaica. GFS is a bit, more specific with that rainfall, making more sense with what was discussed on the wind and the wind shear map. So definitely some central and western parishes, especially some southern parishes. So we see those shades across sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew as well. So definitely look out for that rainfall. If you're gonna be, getting that laundry done, try to get it done as early as possible or on Sunday. Alright, so if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday, we can see that definitely there's going to be some amount of rainfall in store according to the Euro model. we're going to be seeing the most rainfall right there across portions of Kingston and St. Andrew, up to 0.57 of an inch of rainfall. GFS, not so robust with the amount of rainfall, only 0.37 of an inch of rainfall across sections of western Jamaica, but we do see that rainfall in store for sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, as well as sections of some central and western parishes. So we do have the consensus that yes, we're going to be receiving some rainfall across the island for tomorrow, and definitely going to be across sections of some southern and western or south central and southwestern parishes in Jamaica. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be receiving this rainfall, considering that we're now in the month of September. We're actually now in our primary rainy season, the month of September, especially the month of October, which is the wettest month of the year for Jamaica. So right now we're going to be seeing an uptick in the amount of rainfall that we should be receiving, not to mention the fact that September is the peak of the thunderstorm season in Jamaica. So if we want to see more freak storms, more lightning strikes and flashes, causing some damage or whatever the case may be, it's definitely September that we usually receive those severe thunderstorms. So ensure that you're on the lookout for those. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see clouds bringing rainfall to sections of anywhere from Guadeloupe southward, Montserrat, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago. We can see that rainfall across sections of Honduras, Nicaragua as well. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we do see that we had one or two isolated showers right there across sections of Guadeloupe for today, maybe sections of the US Virgin Islands, sections of Puerto Rico, especially western Puerto Rico. We see that deep convection as well. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we do see that rainfall associated with that tropical wave coming into sections of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the rainfall coming into sections of St. Vincent, not to mention sections of Guadeloupe as well. Lots of rainfall right there to the north of Barbados at this time. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some amount of rainfall across sections of southern Florida, the Bahamas, sections of Guyana, not to mention sections of Honduras and Nicaragua, just like what we mentioned just now. Definitely some rainfall in store for sections of Belize and Guatemala later on tonight. As relates to the temperature forecast, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are showing above normal temperatures in store for sections of the Caribbean. Stretching from the eastern to the western Caribbean, some slightly above normal temperatures are in store for the eastern Caribbean, especially as we start to cool down those temperatures, and this is valid for 1 p.m. on Saturday. However, as it relates to the Saharan dust, we do see that the most Saharan dust is right there across the eastern Caribbean, so maybe some hazy skies, maybe some asthma issues, sinusitis issues. Hopefully that's not the case for some people who are easily triggered by the dust from the Sahara. As it relates to the wave forecast, we can still see that we have those purples and reds that represent 2 meter wave heights or more up to the far south of Jamaica, not to mention the east, the waters to the east of the United States, and we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls, and that's due to the fact that we still have those strong winds right there after the far south of Jamaica, as indicated by the yellows that represent up to 25 knot winds, as well as the strong winds associated with those tropical cyclones that we mentioned at the beginning of this video, post-tropical cyclone Idalia, Gert, and those other systems. So they're definitely turning up the water with those strong winds, as we can see. The yellows and the reds that represent 25 knot or more. And we see that on both the Euro and the GFS, so that's why there's definitely some amount of consensus. As relates to the rain forecast, we do see some amount of isolated passing shower or two expected for sections of Hispaniola, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, sections of Puerto Rico, sections of Guadeloupe southward, so Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, sections of Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. Not so much in the way of rainfall for French Guiana, Suriname, or Guyana, but definitely some rainfall in store for Venezuela, especially sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and even sections of the Yucatan Peninsula. We do see some rainfall in store for sections of the Cayman Islands, sections of Cuba, sections of Bahamas, and maybe even sections of the Northern Turks and Caicos, not to mention sections of southern Florida right there. And if we take a look at the GFS model, we do see that both maps are showing much of the same, like what we saw on the Euro model. You know that when they are showing the same like this, the chance of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.